The Galactic Council Hall was an awe-inspiring structure, its crystalline spires reaching high above the sprawling megacity of Laciar. Delegates from thousands of worlds convened here, representing a dizzying array of life forms from peaceful garden worlds to enigmatic energy beings. It was said that the hall embodied the very essence of civilization, unity through cooperation, diplomacy, and shared understanding. Yet, as Ambassador Helena Drayton of Earth entered the chamber that day, she could feel the tension simmering just beneath the polished surface. The humans, deathworlders, as they were so clinically categorized by the Galactic database, had always been the odd ones out. Their evolution on a planet rife with predators, natural disasters, and the harshness of survival had forged them into beings both resilient and dangerous. But they had learned to mask their primal instincts under layers of diplomacy and etiquette, ever eager to be seen as equal participants in the galactic order. Helena adjusted her diplomatic robe and strode toward her seat. Around her, whispers floated among the gathered representatives. Her translator implant caught snippets. Deathworlders, unpredictable. They should never have been allowed a seat on the council. Barbarians pretending to wear silk. She ignored the comments, as she always did. Humanity's place in the Galactic Council had been hard-won, and Helena was determined to hold it. The council chamber was filled with dignitaries from every corner of the galaxy. Towering Thalassian aqua beasts floated serenely in their hover tanks, their bioluminescent skin pulsing in rhythmic patterns. The insectoid Zikrash chittered in unison, their spindly forms shifting in the light. The energy-based Zavith floated as ephemeral clouds of light and sound, their presence more felt than seen. Helena took her place at the Earth delegation's seat and glanced toward the central dais. The Zorath, a coldly logical race of silicon-based beings who chaired the council, had already begun the day's proceedings. Their leader, Chairmaster Vrax, addressed the assembly in the universal tongue, his voice echoing through the chamber like grinding stone. Today, we convene to address the escalating conflict between the Renari Trade Confederation and the Korthian hegemony, Vrax intoned. It is imperative that we find a resolution to this crisis before it spirals further out of control. Helena's jaw tightened. The Rhinari-Korthian conflict had been brewing for years, a proxy war fought through trade embargoes, resource raids, and skirmishes on unclaimed worlds. Humanity, as a neutral party, had offered to mediate, but the offer had been met with scorn. Neither the Rhinari nor the Korthians trusted deathworlders to act as impartial arbiters. She listened as representatives from other species presented their arguments, each more self-serving than the last. The Rhinari blamed the Korthians for aggressive expansionism, while the Korthians accused the Rhinari of economic sabotage. Helena's patience wore thin as the debate dragged on, a cacophony of voices that achieved nothing. Then, without warning, the chamber's atmosphere changed. The lights dimmed, and a chilling hum resonated through the air. A holographic projection appeared in the center of the room, displaying a desolate world scarred by battle. Blackened craters and the smoldering wreckage of ships stretched across the landscape. "This," Vrax said, his voice colder than ever, "is what remains of Salathar Refor, a neutral colony world destroyed in the crossfire of your senseless war." Gasps filled the chamber. The devastation was undeniable. Millions of innocent lives lost, their cities turned to ash. Helena's stomach churned as she watched the projection, the scale of the tragedy hitting her like a punch to the gut. "This cannot continue," Vrax declared. "If the Council is to uphold its mandate of peace, we must act decisively. The Rhinari and Korthian delegations will remain to face sanctions. The rest of you are dismissed." Helena rose from her seat, her mind racing. Humanity had stayed on the sidelines for too long, enduring the sneers and dismissals of the galactic elite. But as she walked away from the chamber, one thought crystallized in her mind. It was time to stop pretending. Helena returned to the Earth Embassy in Laziar in silence, her mind a storm of calculations and possibilities. The grand halls of the Galactic Council no longer inspired awe in her. They felt hollow, filled with beings who talked of unity but acted out of fear and self-interest. As the reinforced titanium doors of the embassy slid shut behind her, Helena's facade dropped. Her polished diplomatic veneer gave way to an expression of grim determination. Inside, waiting for her, was Colonel Adrian Vasquez, the head of Earth's military contingent in La Sierra. "You saw the feed?" she asked as she approached him. Vasquez nodded, his rugged face set in a scowl. "Salazar Foray massacre, and the council just debates." Helena dropped into a chair, rubbing her temples. "It's worse than that. They'll impose sanctions, sure, but no one actually expects the Renari or Corthians to comply. And if they don't, what then? Another round of meaningless talks? More innocent lives lost?" "You're saying it's time to act," Vasquez said, his tone neutral but his eyes sharp. "I'm saying it's time we stopped letting them think we're harmless," Helena replied. "We've played nice for too long, Vasquez. They see us as predators wearing suits, and maybe that's what we need to be." Vasquez leaned forward, his voice low. "We have the capabilities. The Council doesn't know half of what Earth's been developing. They see the ships we let them see, the tech we let them analyze. But if we do this, there's no going back. We stop being the misunderstood newcomers, and we start being the apex predators they've always feared." Helena met his gaze. "What's the alternative? Let them wipe out neutral colonies while we issue strongly worded condemnations? We've earned our place in the galaxy, Vasquez. Maybe it's time to remind them why." The colonel nodded slowly. "I'll get the ball rolling. But you know this won't just be about showing strength. Once we make our move, someone will try to challenge us. We'll need to be ready to finish what we start." Helena stood, her resolve hardening. "Then let's make sure we're ready. Assemble the Council of Earth. I want the brightest minds and the sharpest blades. It's time humanity stopped playing by the galaxy's rules and started making our own." 2 weeks later, the Earth Council convened aboard Unity's Edge, humanity's most advanced diplomatic vessel. Orbiting Earth, the ship was a symbol of their commitment to galactic peace. But beneath its polished exterior, it was a fortress of cutting-edge technology and unmatched firepower. The council chamber was filled with representatives from Earth's key factions, military leaders, scientists, economists, and cultural advisors. Helena stood at the head of the room, her presence commanding. "The galaxy sees us as dangerous but controllable," she began, her voice firm. "They think we're restrained by their rules, their diplomacy. But recent events have shown us what happens when those rules fail. The question before us is simple. Do we continue to play their game, or do we remind them why deathworlders are not to be underestimated?" A murmur ran through the room. Dr. Mira Sang, a leading xenobiologist, raised her hand. "Ambassador, if we're going to abandon the Council's protocols, we need to consider the consequences. Fear can unify, but it can also provoke retaliation." "That's exactly why we can't half-step this," Vasquez interjected. "If we act, it has to be decisive. We need to show the galaxy that there's no point in challenging humanity." Helena nodded. "Agreed. But we'll start strategically. We'll identify key pressure points, places where we can make an impact without initiating outright war. Our first step is to secure neutral worlds like Salazar 4. If the Council can't protect them, we will, and we'll make sure everyone knows it." Dr. Sang frowned. "And when the Rhinari or Corthians push back?" "Then we push harder," Vasquez said grimly. The room fell silent. Then a voice from the back spoke up. It was Admiral Genevieve Cow, commander of Earth's fleet. "I propose we deploy Erebus." The name hung in the air like a thunderclap. Erebus was humanity's ace in the hole, a dreadnought-class warship equipped with experimental weaponry that had never been revealed to the Council. It was a symbol of everything the galaxy feared about deathworlders: power, unpredictability, and an edge honed by necessity. Helena hesitated for only a moment before nodding. "Do it, but discreetly. We're not declaring war. We're making a statement. If the galaxy wants to test us, they'll have to think twice." 3 months later, the galaxy was buzzing with rumors. The first incident had been on Halrin 7, a mining colony caught in the crossfire of a Rhinari raid. A fleet of unidentified ships had appeared in orbit, neutralizing the Rhinari attackers with surgical precision before vanishing without a trace. Survivors described sleek black vessels bristling with weaponry unlike anything they'd seen before. Then came the liberation of Vryn Station, a trade hub occupied by Korthian forces. Once again, the mysterious fleet struck, its tactics swift and merciless. Reports spoke of kinetic weapons that pierced Korthian shields as if they were paper, and drones that moved with an almost predatory intelligence. The council was in chaos. Who were these attackers? And why did they leave no trace of their origins? The answer came in the form of a message broadcast to every major power in the galaxy. A hologram of Helena Drayton appeared, her expression unyielding. "This is a message from humanity," she began. "For too long we have watched as the innocent suffer and the powerful play games with lives. No more. From this day forward, humanity will protect those who cannot protect themselves. If you bring war to neutral worlds, you will answer to us." The message ended, but the impact was immediate. The galaxy now knew what the deathworlders were capable of, and they were terrified. The Galactic Council was in an uproar. The Rhinari Trade Confederation and the Korthian hegemony were demanding immediate sanctions against humanity, claiming that Earth's recent actions constituted an act of war. Their fleets had been humiliated, their reputations shattered, and they could not allow such defiance to go unanswered. "They're destabilizing the galaxy," bellowed Treshak, the Rhinari ambassador, his feathered crest bristling in agitation. "Humanity is a menace, a death-world species that should never have been allowed into the council in the first place." Across the chamber, the Korthian representative, High Strategist Okar, added his gravelly voice to the accusations. "They hide behind neutrality, but their actions are a declaration of dominance. If the council does not act, the Korthian hegemony will take matters into its own hands." Chairmaster Vrax listened impassively, his crystalline form glinting under the chamber lights. When the outburst subsided, he turned his gaze to Helena Drayton, who sat calmly at the Earth delegation's table. "Ambassador Drayton," Vrax said, his voice a grinding monotone, "humanity stands accused of unilateral aggression against member states of this council. Do you deny these allegations?" Helena rose slowly, her expression measured but unyielding. "Humanity denies nothing, Chairmaster. We acted where the council failed to do so. Neutral worlds were under attack, and innocent lives were being lost. We intervened because it was the right thing to do." "The right thing?" Treshak spat. "You overstepped your bounds. You have no authority to enforce peace." Helena's eyes flashed dangerously. "And yet we enforced it. Perhaps the question you should be asking, Ambassador, is why the Council, with all its authority, failed to do the same." The chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted over one another, some in support of humanity's actions, others decrying them as reckless and destabilizing. Helena stood her ground, her gaze unwavering. After several minutes, Chairmaster Vrax struck the chamber floor with his staff, silencing the uproar. "Enough," he said. "The Council will deliberate on this matter. Until then, humanity's military activities are to cease immediately. Any further escalation will be met with severe consequences." Helena inclined her head, a faint smile playing on her lips. "Of course, Chairmaster. Humanity will abide by the Council's decision, for now." As Helena left the council chamber, she was approached by a familiar figure, Ambassador Rilth, a representative of the Thalassian sovereignty. The Thalassians were one of the few species that had maintained a neutral stance toward humanity, and Rilth had always been a quiet ally. "You're walking a dangerous path, Helena," Rilth said, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with concern. "The Rhinari and Korthians won't let this go. They'll push the Council to take action against Earth." Helena sighed. "I know, but someone had to do something. The Council talks of peace but does nothing to protect it. If that makes humanity the villain in their eyes, so be it." Rilth hesitated, then leaned closer. "Be careful, Helena. The galaxy is watching, and so are its predators." Back on Earth, preparations were underway for the inevitable backlash. The Earth Council had anticipated this moment, and humanity's leaders were not caught off guard. Admiral Cao had already begun mobilizing the fleet, and Colonel Vasquez was overseeing the deployment of new ground-based defense systems on vulnerable colonies. But Earth's true strength lay in its ability to adapt. Humanity had learned to survive on a hostile world, and they had carried that resilience into the stars. Their ships were faster, their weapons more advanced, and their strategies more ruthless than the galaxy could have imagined. On the edge of human-controlled space, Erebus stood as a silent sentinel. The dreadnought was more than a weapon. It was a statement. Humanity was done pretending to be weak. The retaliation came swiftly. A combined fleet of Rhinari and Korthian warships appeared on the outskirts of the Alis system, a neutral zone under Earth's protection. Their goal was clear: to send a message to humanity that defiance would not be tolerated. What they didn't expect was that humanity had been waiting for them. The Rhinari and Korthian ships entered orbit around Alis Prime, their weapons charging as they prepared to bombard the surface. But before they could fire, the space around them erupted in a storm of energy. Humanity's fleet emerged from the void, led by Erebus. The dreadnought dwarfed the enemy ships, its matte black hull absorbing light like a predatory shadow. Without warning, it opened fire. Kinetic projectiles accelerated to near-light speeds, tore through enemy shields, their impacts detonating with the force of small nuclear explosions. Swarms of autonomous drones descended on the enemy fleet, their movements almost organic as they weaved through defenses and targeted critical systems. The battle was over in minutes. The Rhinari and Korthian ships were annihilated, their remnants left drifting in the void. Humanity's fleet sustained no losses. A single transmission was sent to the Council. Alis is secure. Do not test us again. The destruction of the Rhinari Korthian fleet sent shockwaves through the galaxy. For the first time, the other species truly understood what humanity was capable of. The Council convened an emergency session, but it was clear that their authority was crumbling. Member states began reconsidering their alliances, some quietly reaching out to humanity, while others scrambled to fortify their defenses. Humanity's message was clear. They were no longer content to sit quietly at the table. They had proven that they could enforce peace where the Council could not, and they were prepared to back their words with action. The Galactic Council was no longer a symbol of unity. It had become a den of whispering factions, broken alliances, and silent fears. The destruction of the Rhinari Korthian fleet had sent ripples through every star system. Smaller species, those without powerful fleets or advanced technology, were the first to act. The Zyran Compact, a coalition of garden-world civilizations, publicly declared their neutrality in the escalating tensions. Their ambassador, a delicate avian creature named Krella, delivered a message to the Council that many others echoed. We will not be drawn into war. If humanity has the means to protect neutral systems, then perhaps they are the guardians we need. But not all species sought neutrality. The Korthians and Rhinari doubled down, rallying allies to their cause. The Grith, a warlike species of reptilian giants, pledged their fleets to the anti-human coalition. Rumors of secret weapons being developed by the coalition spread like wildfire. And yet, in the shadows, humanity gained unexpected allies. The Thalassians quietly offered their advanced stealth technology to Earth, their own distrust of the Council outweighing their caution. The Namari, a species of shrewd traders, began supplying humanity with vital resources, driven by the promise of protection for their merchant fleets. In the heart of this chaos, Helena Drayton moved like a chess master. Every council session became a stage for her to dismantle her opponent's rhetoric. I find it curious, she said during one heated debate, that the Rhinari and Korthians decry our actions as aggressive when they initiated conflict in neutral territories. Humanity didn't start this war. We're simply finishing it. The chairmaster's crystalline face remained unreadable, but there was a glimmer of something in his voice when he spoke. Ambassador Drayton, your words grow bolder with every session. Let us hope your actions do not outpace your control. Tensions reached their breaking point 6 months after the Battle of Alis Prime. The Coalition launched a massive attack on Rykos Station, a critical trade hub and one of Earth's most vital allies. The station was surrounded by dozens of coalition ships, their weapons charging to deliver a decisive blow. But humanity was ready. When the attack began, a small human fleet emerged from hyperspace. It was led not by Erebus, but by a new ship, Nemesis. Sleeker and faster than its predecessor, Nemesis was a testament to Earth's ability to innovate under pressure. The coalition forces expected a traditional engagement, but what they got was a masterclass in asymmetric warfare. Humanity's fleet employed tactics the galaxy had never seen, jamming communications, hacking enemy targeting systems, and deploying decoy drones that lured missiles away from their targets. The coup de grace came when Nemesis activated its experimental weapon, a gravity lens cannon. The weapon bent space-time itself, creating localized singularities that ripped apart enemy ships with surgical precision. By the time the dust settled, the coalition fleet was in shambles. Rightful station was intact, its defenders hailing the human fleet as heroes. The message was clear. Humanity's technology was evolving faster than anyone had anticipated. Back on Earth, the victory at Ryko Station was celebrated, but the mood among the leadership remained tense. Humanity's actions had solidified its reputation as a force to be reckoned with, but the coalition was far from defeated. Helena convened a high-level meeting aboard Unity's Edge. Present were Admiral Cao, Colonel Vasquez, Dr. Mira Sang, and representatives from their new allies. "We've proven we can win battles," Helena began, "but this isn't just about military strength. If we want to secure humanity's place in the galaxy, we need to dismantle the coalition entirely, and we need to do it without becoming what they fear most." Dr. Sang spoke up. "I've been analyzing the coalition's communications. There are fractures forming. The Grith are unhappy with the Rhinari's leadership, and some Korthian factions are questioning the cost of this war. If we apply pressure in the right places, we can break them apart." Admiral Cao nodded. "Divide and conquer. We can use stealth fleets to target their supply lines and sow distrust among their ranks. If they start turning on each other, we won't need to fight them all at once." "And what about the Council?" Vasquez asked. Helena's expression hardened. "The Council is a lost cause. They'll condemn us no matter what we do. Our focus is on the galaxy's people. If we can prove that humanity is a stabilizing force, they'll side with us over the Council." The room fell silent as the plan took shape. Humanity was no longer just fighting to survive. They were fighting to lead. The coalition's collapse began subtly. Grith warlords found their supply ships disappearing, their colonies sabotaged by unknown forces. Rhinari officers discovered forged documents implicating Korthian spies in acts of betrayal. Infiltrators, loyal to humanity, spread rumors that weakened the coalition from within. The final blow came when Erebus appeared on the outskirts of Korthian space. But this time, it didn't attack. Instead, it transmitted a single message: "Surrender, and humanity will ensure your survival. Resist, and we will show no mercy." The Korthian leadership, weary of war and mistrusting their own allies, chose to negotiate. One by one, the other coalition members followed suit, leaving the Rhinari isolated and vulnerable. The war ended not with a climactic battle, but with a quiet shift in power. Humanity had outmaneuvered its enemies, proving that brute strength was not the only weapon in their arsenal. Epilogue: A New Order. A year later, the galaxy looked very different. The Council still existed, but its influence had waned. Humanity had become a cornerstone of the new galactic order, not through conquest, but through calculated strength and leadership. Helena Drayton stood on the bridge of Unity's Edge, looking out at the stars. Beside her was Rilth, the Thalassian ambassador who had quietly supported humanity from the beginning. "You've done it," Rilth said. "The galaxy no longer sees you as barbarians." Helena smiled faintly. "Number now, they see us for what we are: survivors, builders, protectors, but most of all," she paused, her gaze hardening, "they see us as equals." The stars stretched endlessly before them, and for the first time in centuries, humanity was unafraid. They had earned their place in the galaxy, not through pretense, but through undeniable truth. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the stars. If you enjoyed watching humanity rise, challenge the galaxy, and take their place among the apex predators, don't forget to like this video. It really helps us reach more sci-fi fans like you. We'd love to hear what you think. Drop a comment below and tell us your favorite part of the story. Was it the bold strategies, the epic battles, or the unexpected alliances? Or maybe you have your own ideas about how humanity would handle a galactic war? And if you're hungry for more thrilling stories like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got plenty more adventures, battles, and twists waiting for you. Subscribe for more galactic adventures. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next Cosmic Tale.